Imagine for a moment that everything you thought was random about your life was actually a sacred calling, that the pain you endured, the failures that crushed you, and the loneliness that hollowed you out were not punishments, but preparations. I didn't believe it either until I stood at the edge of my own breaking point, only to find that what I thought was the end was actually the beginning. Today we are stepping into a truth so powerful that once you hear it, you cannot unhear. You are awakening as a spiritual warrior, chosen one, and the signs have been all around you, whispering, shouting, waiting for you to listen. The first sign is the unbearable heaviness you sometimes feel without knowing why. It's like carrying a weight that isn't yours alone, a sadness that seems older than your own life. I used to think there was something wrong with me, that I was just too sensitive, too emotional. But then I realized we are the ones chosen to feel what others refuse to feel. We are the emotional alchemists, transmuting collective pain into wisdom, and this burden is not a curse, it's a sacred trust. Can you remember a moment when you felt the sorrow of the world in your own chest? As we move deeper, the second sign emerges, the collapse of everything you once believed in, the structures you trusted, the identities you clung to, the dreams you thought you needed, all falling apart like sand slipping through your fingers. I fought it for so long, trying to patch the sinking ship of my old life, until I realized the ship was meant to sink. Only when the false falls away can the real begin. What illusions are you still desperately holding on to, even as your soul begs you to let them die?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
The third sign is the isolation that can feel like exile. Friends drift away, family doesn't understand you, and you find yourself walking a path that seems terrifyingly empty. I used to curse the loneliness, but now I see it as sacred. The cocoon must be sealed for the caterpillar to become the butterfly. No audience, no applause, only the silent work of transformation. When was the last time you embraced your solitude instead of resisting it? Then comes the fourth sign, the surge of intuitive knowing that defies logic. Sudden insights, prophetic dreams, gut feelings that prove more accurate than any rational analysis. At first, I doubted these flashes of intuition, brushing them off as coincidences. But the more I trusted them, the more they led me exactly where I needed to go. Our mind was trained to obey. Our spirit was born to know. How often have you ignored your deepest knowing, only to realize later that it was right all along? The fifth sign is the relentless call to serve something greater than yourself. It's not about fame, wealth, or validation anymore. It's about impact, about healing, lifting, awakening others. I felt this pull even when I had nothing to give, even when I was broken myself. That's how you know it's real. It demands everything from you and offers nothing in return except the knowing that you lived for something that mattered. What mission is whispering to you in the quiet moments when no one else is watching? As we journey further, the sixth sign reveals itself. Encounters with synchronicities that are too precise to dismiss. Repeating numbers, chance meetings, messages hidden in songs, books, dreams. The universe stops being random and starts speaking to you in a language only your soul can understand. Every sign is a breadcrumb leading you home. Have you been noticing the patterns, or are you still brushing them off as meaningless coincidences? The seventh sign is the awakening of a fierce, protective love, not just for people, but for truth, for justice, for life itself. I never understood why injustice enraged me so deeply, why lies felt like physical attacks. Now I know. We are the warriors of the unseen realms, guardians of the sacred order, defenders of the voiceless. Our anger is not a flaw, it is a compass. What injustice breaks your heart so wide open that you cannot look away? And finally, the 8th sign, the quiet, unshakable knowing that you were born for this. Even when you doubt yourself, even when you fall, even when you want to give up, something inside you refuses to die. A small, stubborn flame that says, "Not yet, there is more to do, you are not finished." That flame is your true self, your eternal self, the part of you that remembers why you came here. Can you feel it stirring even now as you hear these words? When I realized I was awakening as a spiritual warrior chosen one, everything changed. I stopped asking for the journey to be easier and started asking to be stronger. I stopped seeking comfort and started seeking truth, even when it shattered me. I stopped trying to fit in and started daring to stand out, even when it cost me everything. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting for permission to be who you are? This awakening is not a fantasy, it is a fire. It will burn away everything that is not aligned with your highest purpose. It will test you, break you, rebuild you. It will demand sacrifices you never thought you could make, but it will also give you gifts beyond anything you have ever known. Clarity, purpose, resilience, a heart so fierce and vast that nothing can defeat it. Are you ready to be reforged by the fire of your own becoming? The journey of a spiritual warrior chosen one is not about glory, it's about service. It's about carrying the light into the darkest places, even when no one sees you, even when no one thanks you. It's about choosing love when hate would be easier, choosing hope when despair seems inevitable, choosing faith when everything inside you screams to give up. What choice will you make when everything is on the line? As we awaken, we start to see the world differently. We see the pain behind people's anger, the fear behind their cruelty, the longing behind their masks. We see the battles they are fighting silently, the dreams they have buried, the light they are afraid to claim. And we love them anyway, not because they have earned it, but because we know that we were once lost too. How would your relationships change if you loved people not for who they show you, but for who they truly are beneath the pain? The signs are not random. They are the milestones of your awakening, the markers of your transformation. Each one is a doorway leading you deeper into your own soul. Each one is an invitation to rise, to remember, to reclaim. And though the path is lonely, you are never truly alone. We walk together, unseen but united, an army of light rising from the ashes of a broken world. Can you hear the call? This journey will ask you to leave behind everything that is safe but small. It will ask you to betray the expectations of those who have never dared to dream. It will ask you to risk failure, rejection, heartbreak, but in return, it will give you the only thing that truly matters, the chance to live fully, fiercely, unapologetically alive. What are you willing to leave behind to become who you were born to be? You are not here by accident. You are not broken. You are breaking open. You are not lost. You are being led. You are not too much. You are exactly enough. Every scar, every tear, every battle has prepared you for this moment. Will you answer the call? When you begin to recognize these signs within you, a new kind of courage is born. Not the loud, boastful courage that needs an audience, but the quiet, unshakable courage that endures in silence. I remember the moment I realized that the battles I fought were not external at all. They were battles within my own mind, my own heart, my own soul, and winning those battles meant standing face to face with my own fears, my own doubts, and choosing to rise anyway. What in a battle are you being called to fight right now, and what have you been too afraid to face? As we awaken, we start to experience a profound disillusionment with the world we once idolized. The structures built on greed, manipulation, and fear no longer hold power over us. I felt the collapse of old dreams, old ambitions, old definitions of success, and it was terrifying. But in that collapse, a deeper dream began to emerge, one that was not handed to me by society, but whispered to me by my soul. Have you noticed how the things you once craved now seem hollow and meaningless? There comes a point where you realize that you are not here just to live a comfortable life. You are here to be a catalyst, a disruptor, a bridge between worlds. You are here to stand at the crossroads where the old world crumbles and the new world is born. And this role is not glamorous. It is grueling, humbling, sacred. Are you willing to be the storm that clears the old so that the new can rise? Another sign that you are awakening as a spiritual warrior, chosen one, is the deepening of your spiritual senses. You begin to perceive energy, to feel vibrations, to sense the unseen. Places, people, and situations carry frequencies that either nourish or drain you, and you can no longer ignore the difference. I remember walking into rooms and knowing instantly whether I was meant to stay or leave, not because of words or logic, but because my spirit spoke louder than my mind. How often have you ignored the subtle energies around you, and what would change if you truly listened? With this awakening comes the sharpening of your discernment. You stop believing words and start reading energy. You stop trusting appearances and start trusting resonance. You realize that truth is not always spoken, it is felt, and you learn to navigate the world not by maps drawn by others, but by the compass of your own soul. What would your life look like if you trusted your own discernment more than the opinions of others? Another profound shift is the death of the victim mentality. You stop seeing yourself as a pawn in someone else's game and start realizing you are the creator of your own reality. This realization is both liberating and terrifying because it leaves you with no one to blame, no excuses to hide behind. I remember the moment I stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What is this awakening within me?" That shift changed everything. Where in your life are you still giving away your power by blaming others? As a spiritual warrior chosen one, you also begin to experience a deeper connection to nature. The trees, the rivers, the mountains, they stop being background scenery and start becoming sacred allies. You feel the pulse of the earth beneath your feet, the whisper of the wind in your bones, the ancient wisdom carried by the stars. Nature becomes your temple, your teacher, your mirror. How long has it been since you sat with the earth and listened? Really listen. There is also a profound awakening of your creative power, not just the ability to paint or write or dance, but the ability to create reality itself. You realize that your thoughts are seeds, your words are spells, your actions are rituals. Every moment becomes an act of creation, a choice to align with either fear or love, destruction or rebirth. What reality have you been unconsciously creating? And what reality are you ready to consciously? As you step deeper into your role, you begin to understand the necessity of spiritual discipline. Not rigid dogma, but sacred devotion. Daily practices that keep you anchored in your truth. Rituals that open portals to higher realms. Commitments that forge your spirit in the fires of transformation. I had to build my own temple within, brick by brick, practice by practice, until it became unshakable. What secret practices are calling to you, asking to be honored in your daily life? And then comes one of the hardest lessons, the betrayal of those you thought would walk with you. Friends, lovers, even family members may turn away, unable to understand the path you are walking. I felt the sting of abandonment, the ache of loneliness, the temptation to shrink back into the old self just to be accepted. But every time I chose my soul over approval, I grew stronger, freer, more aligned with my true mission. Who or what are you still clinging to out of fear of walking alone? There is a sacred loneliness in the awakening journey, but there is also a sacred community waiting for you. Other warriors, other dreamers, other builders of the new world. We find each other not through our scars, but through our light. We recognize each other not by our words, but by the resonance of our souls. Can you feel the invisible tribe already gathering around you even now? As you awaken, you also begin to experience moments of pure, unfiltered bliss, not attached to any external circumstance, but arising from deep within your being. Moments when you are so connected to life, to spirit, to the eternal now, that you dissolve into something greater. These moments are glimpses of your true nature, reminders of what you are fighting for. How often do you allow yourself to simply be, without striving, without needing, without fearing? You will find that your dreams become more vivid, your visions more urgent. Messages come through symbols, archetypes, ancestors, guides. The veil between worlds grows thinner, and you begin to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Dreams are not just dreams anymore. They are instructions, blueprints, prophecies. Are you paying attention to the messages that come in the silence of the night? Another sign is the burning away of superficial desires, fame, fortune, approval. They lose their glitter. What you crave now is authenticity, integrity, impact. You would rather die standing in your truth than live bowing in a lie. This fierce devotion to authenticity is the hallmark of the true warrior. What parts of your life are still built on the shaky foundation of external validation? As we awaken, we also awaken to grief. Grief for the world, for the suffering, for the lost dreams, for the forgotten truths. This grief is not a weakness, it is a sacred portal. It is through grieving that we cleanse our hearts, reconnect with our deepest humanity, and find the strength to keep fighting for a better world. Have you allowed yourself to grieve fully, or are you still trying to be strong by staying numb? The final and perhaps most important sign is the rising of an inexhaustible hope. Not the naive hope that denies darkness, but the fierce hope that faces darkness and chooses light anyway. The hope that says, even if I fail, even if I fall, even if I am broken, I will rise again. This hope is not a feeling, it is a decision, a vow you make with your own soul. Will you choose hope, even when the night seems endless? Every step you take, every battle you fight, every tear you shed is sacred. You are not just living a life, you are weaving a legacy of courage, of truth, of love that will ripple through generations yet unborn. You are a link in a golden chain stretching across time, a torchbearer in the endless relay of awakening. Will you carry the torch with honor? You are not here to be saved. You are here to remember that you are the savior you have been waiting for. You are not here to be small. You are here to be vast. You are not here to survive. You are here to ignite. What fire inside you are you ready to unleash upon the world? As you walk further along this path, you begin to notice that your very presence starts to change things. Rooms feel different when you enter. Conversations shift. People either rise to meet you or recoil from their own reflection in you. It's not because you are trying to be powerful, it's because you have become a mirror, a catalyst, a living reminder of what others have forgotten within themselves. Have you noticed how your energy speaks louder than your words, even when you say nothing at all? The more you awaken, the more you realize that leadership is not about authority, it's about embodiment. True leadership is silent, invisible, woven into the fabric of your being. You lead by the way you live, by the way you love, by the way you refuse to betray your own soul. I had to unlearn everything I was taught about leadership and remember that it begins with radical self-honesty. Where in your life are you being called to lead simply by being fully you? You also begin to experience both more challenges and more miracles. The stakes get higher because you are playing a bigger game now. Every obstacle is a test, not of your strength, but of your faith. Every miracle is a reminder that you are not walking alone. I used to see difficulties as signs of failure. Now I see them as sacred initiations preparing me for the next level of my evolution. What if your current struggles are not punishments, but invitations to rise? You start to understand that resilience is not about never falling, it's about falling fiercely. Falling with awareness, with grace, with the willingness to get back up each time stronger and wiser. Every scar becomes a badge of honor, every tear a testament to your unbreakable spirit. The world measures success by how high you climb. The soul measures success by how deeply you rise after you fall. How differently would you live if you no longer feared failure? Another profound realization is that love is your greatest weapon and your greatest shield. Not sentimental love, not conditional love, but the fierce, unconditional love that sees through illusions and touches the eternal. This love is not weak. It is the most powerful force in the universe. It melts walls, shatters chains, births worlds. When I started loving from my soul instead of my wounds, everything changed. Who in your life needs the fierce medicine of your unconditional love right now? As a spiritual warrior chosen one, you understand that healing is not linear. It spirals, it circles back, it deepens. Just when you think you have healed something, new layers reveal themselves. This is not failure, this is mastery. True healing is not about reaching a final destination. It's about cultivating the capacity to meet each new wave of pain with even greater compassion and wisdom. What old wound is asking for your attention again? Not to punish you, but to bless you. You also start to see time differently. The urgency of the ego softens. The timelines imposed by society lose their grip on you. You understand that everything unfolds in divine timing. that rushing and forcing only create resistance. I used to panic when things didn't happen on my schedule. Now I trust the seasons of my soul. What would it feel like to live in alignment with divine timing instead of human impatience? There is a deepening humility that comes with awakening. You realize how small you are in the vastness of existence, and yet how infinitely precious you are at the same time. You bow before the mysteries you cannot control, and yet you rise with the knowing that you are a co-creator of reality itself. This paradox keeps you grounded, keeps you reverent, keeps you real. How would your life change if you lived every day in awe of both your insignificance and your magnificence? As you continue, you start to feel a profound sense of destiny, not as a rigid script you must follow, but as a living song you are here to sing, a melody only you can bring into the world. No one else can walk your path, speak your truth, fulfill your sacred contract. I spent years doubting my worth, questioning my place, until I realized that my very existence is the proof that my song matters. What song are you here to sing before your time on this earth is done? You also realize that true wealth is measured not by what you accumulate, but by what you generate within. Peace, love, wisdom, creativity, resilience, these are the currencies of the awakened soul. When you live from this inner abundance, the external world naturally begins to align. Opportunities, relationships, resources flow to you, not because you chase them, but because you embody the vibration that magnetizes them. What inner wealth are you being called to cultivate right now? The spiritual warrior chosen one understands that every encounter is sacred. Every soul you meet is a mirror, a teacher, a fellow traveler. Some will bless you, some will challenge you. Some will break your heart open wider than you thought possible. All are necessary. All are part of the tapestry you are weaving with your life. When you look back, will you see a masterpiece of love, courage, and truth, or a canvas left blank out of fear? There comes a point where you stop seeking permission to live your truth. You stop waiting for the world to approve of your dreams, your path, your essence. You realize that the only permission you ever needed was your own. The chains fall, the cages rust away, and you finally step into the vastness of your being. What dreams have you placed on hold, waiting for approval that will never come? You begin to understand that the most revolutionary act you can commit is to be fully, fiercely, unapologetically alive. To be a living example of what is possible when a soul refuses to be tamed. This is the greatest gift you can give to the world, not your perfection but your presence, not your conformity but your authenticity, not your obedience but your wild, sacred, untamable heart. What parts of yourself are you ready to unleash into the world? In the end, awakening as a spiritual warrior chosen one is not about becoming something new. It's about remembering who you already are. It's about peeling away the layers of fear, conditioning, and illusion until only the radiant truth remains. It's about standing naked before the mirror of your own soul and saying, I remember. You are here for a reason. You are the prayer of your ancestors. You are the answer to a world that has forgotten its own soul. You are the bridge between what has been and what can be. You are the living proof that even in the darkest times, the light is never extinguished. Will you carry that light forward, even when the night seems endless? This is not just your journey, it is our journey. Every step you take uplifts the whole. Every truth you claim liberates others to claim theirs. Every act of love, every moment of courage, every breath of authenticity ripples across the fabric of existence, weaving a new reality. How will you use your precious life to lead the world more awake, more whole, more beautiful than you found it?